The biggest thing is consistency. You can still have your own uniqueness in the classroom. You can adapt lessons to your personality and your style, but when we're all teaching the same thing and the kids are exposed to the same thing and using the same language, I think that's key. We all can't be doing our own thing, because when they do all come together in 6th grade, there's different language or different vocabulary being used. So I think that consistency is a key piece. Taking a look at where we were 22 years ago and things that I was teaching the beginning of 4th grade, I felt like we were starting to get away from it a little bit. And what I was teaching my students this year in our first module through Wit and Wisdom, they were engaged. I had my lowest learners just as engaged as my highest ones. And they're really becoming thinkers and questioners. They're starting to question what they're reading, why an author wrote it a certain way. For example, right now our unit is all on wordplay. And so why do authors choose the words that they do? And what's the purpose? Is it for humor? Is it to try to get a certain point across? But how wordplay can really have an effect within your writing, and more so in the imaginative sense or the creative sense, and that's just kind of taken off their creative writing. They love to do creative writing as a choice. So anything that can inspire their learning and they're wanting to write, for me, it's a win-win.
You know to be the manager of the baseball team?
Yes.
You know the guys' names?
Oh, I should.
Well, you tell me the guys' names on the baseball team.
Say, who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third.
You ain't saying nothing to me yet. Go ahead and tell me.
Does that now make sense to you?
Sure, there are times when this is what you need to learn, and we're gonna, do it, and you're gonna learn, and we're gonna talk about it. It might be hard, and ask any student in my class, and they'll say my favorite word is perseverance. I don't know how to do it yet, but we're gonna work through it. And then how good you feel about yourself when you have persevered and you achieved what you didn't think was possible. And I think that's where the budget in general is really important, because we have our music budget where I have wonderful musicians in here. That's where they shine, is playing band or playing orchestra or singing in the chorus. And then I have math brains in here, which they could come up and they could teach the class, amazing. But they all shine in their own way, and I really feel like that I am able to help those no matter where they are or whatever their strengths are. And it is because of that consistency, that equity, that everyone is getting the same thing. But when I see someone struggling, I'm able to help them with it.
That is correct. And finally, in 1812, Britain invaded and occupied Batavia and the rest of Java under Stamford Raffles. 7 years before Raffles founded this nearby country off the tip of the Malay Peninsula.
Singapore, right?
Well, Masterminds specifically is geared toward knowledge and academic excellence. So the club attracts students that have an interest in studying, facts and knowledge and trivia, some things they learn in school, some things they might learn outside of school.
It's a bonus question for your team.
It also provides them with a place to be with kids that are like-minded, and gives them a place to do it competitively. So when we practice, we are, breaking up into teams and competing, and then of course we do compete against other schools in the area and have playoffs and a championship, just like you might for sports, but it's academically geared. So it gives the students an opportunity to just sort of get together with students that also like to learn and do all sorts of trivia-related things.
You fill the entire container bin with a shaving cream, and then you
extracurricular activities allow students to get involved after school in interest areas that they may not have access to during the day. So, for example, science club, we don't get to do these labs in our science classes, but it gives them a chance to experience the scientific method in a fun way after school, where they get to hang out with friends and be social. So it's a great opportunity for students. We certainly are impacted by the instructional budget, and we get opportunities through it. The access to materials that we have, the ability to have, for example, we just piloted the FOSS kit It was a new area for us, a new interest area, subject that we're teaching in science, and it allowed us to explore different labs and have different experiences with students.
Extracurriculars is where we hook our kids. You know, we try to hook them in the classroom as well, all day long, and we enjoy their energy middle school kids have, but they really want to dig in. And so things like science club where they can get hands-on and we can do different kinds of things outside of the curriculum really helps students to stay engaged. They're more engaged in the classroom then. They make great connections. It's an awesome way for us to get to know our kids in a different way. And look at them. They're amazing.
Can I get Clooney?
So social emotional learning by no means is new to Fairport, and it's not new to schools. Teachers have been doing this for many, many, many years. However, we now have a consistent curriculum that's taught to all students. And this offers a lot of consistency in terms of expectations. And I think it is, as educators, it's our responsibility to acknowledge that our students are facing more intense stressors than they were 5-10 years ago. So in our response, we have to acknowledge that. We have to keep in mind that there are complex stressors that we're working through to help them achieve their goals. With additional support personnel, with additional instructional supports, we can provide students that and ultimately grow with them to be the best they can be.
Give a kid a math equation and let's see if they can solve it. And then if they solve it...
There's no happier place to work than a primary school building. Students come in every day smiling and happy and ready to tackle the day. We work really hard to meet students where they're at and to look at them for their strengths. If we were to ask most teachers, they have very similar goals for their students. They want them to have positive relationships, they want them to meet their goals and reach their full potential, and they want them to be a positive contributor to their community. However, in my role, I'm also interested on how students respond when they're not successful, when they're presented with challenges and stressors. Do they have the coping strategies and tools to work through these situations? We want to ensure that our students have the stamina and perseverance to work through the challenging situations that life throws at them. Whether it's academically, socially, emotionally, civically, we want to make sure they have the tools to tackle those things. When we've done that, we know that they're ready for the bigger world and they truly are future-ready readers.